my dad will always be watching like on Netflix, and he'll just like, he loves
Yeah.
Sebastian Maniscalco, so he'll just like pause and be like,
Yeah.
"You should do that." I'm like, "His act? What do you want me to?" You should,
Yeah,
yeah,
parents
just do that.
love Sebastian. Sebastian is like a
Yeah.
parents comic. My parents love him too. I
Preach.
think just because he's like, yeah, he's silly and jumping around, and they're like, that's an act,
That's
that's a
an
real
exact
act. Yeah.
exactly. The tighter the jacket, the more successful. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sohile Ali Show. I am so thrilled today to have a very special guest, Salma Zaky. She's an amazing stand-up comedian based in New York, and I got to work with her when she featured here at the Comedy Attic in Bloomington. Salma's done Don't Tell Comedy. She actually has a set there and on OnlyFans as well, and OnlyFans TV, I should say. Um,
Yeah.
and she's
There's a
been
distinct difference.
yeah, the asterisks, for sure. And no, and just wanted to say that Salma's been a featured performer at so many amazing festivals across the country, including but not limited to Sketchfest in San Francisco, 10,000 Laughs, and our very own Limestone Comedy Festival here in Bloomington. So I'm so excited to have her as a guest today. Salma, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. You did your homework. That was amazing. Great intro.
I I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Ever since I got to see you and we got to get to know each other when you were working at the attic, I was like, wow, I was really, really impressed with your act. I thought you were super funny, and I just kind of want to make sure people know about you. So I encourage everyone
Thanks.
watching and listening, check out Salma's stuff. She's awesome. But we're gonna get into kind of how you started in comedy and what you're up to today. So yeah, again, really appreciate it. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that was
just
such a fun weekend. I'm really glad I got to do it because I've heard about the attic like so much. Just people talk about how good of a club it is, and so I was like really stoked to, because when I did the festival I didn't, unfortunately, like didn't have any shows there, but like I checked it out and I was like, oh,
right.
this is like the perfect club. And then yeah,
Yeah.
featuring there was really fun and really
Oh
cool.
yeah. Oh no, we did I think four shows and our
Yeah.
headliner Sophie Buddle, shout out to Sophie. She was great and yeah, it was super cool. And I remember so I was like a volunteer at Limestone last year
Right,
and
yeah.
I was like I feel like we have seen you on the different shows, but didn't get to like quite watch you as part just running around to different things. But yeah, it was great to meet you and yeah, I'm glad you finally got to do not just one but four shows at the Attic.
I
So
know. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah, you were a great host, great hang. I thought the three of us really like got along. Like it was just a fun, yeah, it was like a fun time. And so that was, yeah, I feel like I got lucky with the pairing there. That was cool.
yeah, yeah, it was great. So yeah, I'm glad you finally got to do it, and the first of many around here. But I know you're all over the place too, and we'll definitely want to get into what you're up to, what you got coming up. But I'd love to start, as I like to ask a lot of the comedians that I talk to, their origin story, kind of what started, what was it that kind of led you to try this crazy thing in the first place? Where was it? When was it in your life? Would if you wouldn't mind sharing with our with
Yeah, I
us
mean,
here.
I started in college, so I started super young. I went to college in LA, and it was just one of those things where you're just like perusing the clubs, like they have the club fair or whatever, and it's just like
Oh yeah.
different booths of just like like any club imaginable, they have it. And I literally just like stumbled upon it's called Shenanigans Comedy Club, and it was the guy who ran it and then like one other girl, and they were just like, I don't know, I was just drawn to it, and
Yeah.
I kind of like knew I wanted to do. I had done one set when I was 17. I like went
Oh.
up at an open mic in the Bay Area, which is where I grew up, and I just did it one time, and I was like, it was, horrible, obviously. It was 10 minutes, which I
Well,
didn't
you
do the
were
10 minutes, but
17. I mean, was it like usually it's like at a bar or something,
yeah.
it's like hard to even,
I know it
17.
is kind of weird. Like I just remember I had a teacher like tell me about stand up. I didn't know what stand up was. And my teacher was like, "Why don't you try I don't even really remember, but it came up somehow like because I went to this charter school, super small, it was 400 kids, the whole school. And
Dang.
so we had these like we what was called expeditions, which is where you would like pursue like you would do like film or like an
Yeah.
extracurricular thing, but it would be like during school.
Yeah.
It was really cool actually that they would let you just like do that for like a few weeks.
Right.
And we would like take
Find
these
yourselves. Yeah.
yeah. Go find yourself. Like hopefully you find a hobby or whatever.
Yeah.
And we would take these like little tests to be like, are you like more of a creative, like left brain, right
Mm.
brain? Like what kind of person are you? And I think humor had like come up like because I was kind of class clown situation and like one of my teachers was like, "Do you know about stand up? Like why don't you do stand up?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." And then I looked it up and I found
Oh,
Natasha
really?
Leggero. I think I looked up like literally
Yeah.
female comedy into the YouTube search bar. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
Woman
"Woman
comedian.
doing stand up." And Natasha Leggero came up and she was like my first like encounter with stand up.
Wow.
So, anyways, that being said, so I tried the one open mic, just
Yeah.
whim kind of.
Dang.
And then I was like, okay, I hated that. That was horrible. I'll never do it again. But then, yeah, come back. And then I'm like 2 years later, or
Right.
yeah, like a year and a half later, like
College.
at the club fair. And then I think I just had that in the back of my head, like, huh, maybe this is something I should just what else? Like I don't know. It's like when you're freshman,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I gotta make friends. I gotta do something.
Yeah. Well, what were you majoring in at
Um,
UCLA, right?
yeah, UCLA. So I started as a world arts and cultures major. That's how I got in. But then I was like, this is not a real thing. This is
Yeah.
like you can't. This not real. So then
Individualized.
yeah, it was just like so specific, and I was like, I can't graduate with this. So then I went to undecided, and then I ended up being an English major.
Cool.
But
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
so at that point I was like world arts and cultures and um yeah, I like just joined the club. I went to a couple
Yeah.
meetings and then these are some of my closest friends now to this day. So it's kind of
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Do any of them all are they also like stand-ups or was
Yeah,
it
I mean
purely stand-up or like was it like a
it was
mixture of like
stand up, sketch and
sketch?
improv,
It was
yeah.
all of it. Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
sketch came later, because I feel like that didn't. I don't know. Yeah, it was created like a few years later, but yeah, stand
Gotcha.
up, sketch, and improv. The club is still going to this day. Like it's cool. Like it's has like a little legacy. Like Austin Nasso, who was the president, is like this like big influencer now and pursuing comedy, and it's just yeah, it's cool. And some other people in the club are still doing stand up. Um,
Nice. Nice.
so yeah, it's like pretty cool that like a lot of people stuck with it, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
It was
it's
such a good
exactly.
community, yeah. It was really
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, we did all these little open mics on campus and little shows and like
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome, yeah.
Would you all like book comics too to like do a
Yeah.
show? Yeah.
So we would get like big comics as we were in LA. So
Oh
like
my God.
they could just drive, like 20 minutes and do a college and then yeah, so it was cool.
It's the
Like we yeah, like
best. Yeah.
Glazer, we like Ali
Nice.
Wong,
Oh God.
Taylor Tomlinson. This was like all before they were huge.
Damn.
Like we wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to get them now, but like this was like way before they like blew up.
Sure. Sure.
Nicole Byer,
Yeah.
Moshe Kasher.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's like
Wow.
just a bunch of
Killers.
us. Yeah, it was like kind of crazy that
Yeah.
we were like working alongside these comics
I
and
mean,
like
you
opening.
got a budget. They give you a budget,
I know we did. We had a budget
take it from
and
there. It's a real thing.
yeah. And like there was the president of the club would like talk to the managers and like be in contact with them. And it was like a whole thing. Like it was
That's
um
cool. So
yes.
you really kind of found your place with shenanigans, it sounds like
Yeah,
that was
Shenanigans was like yeah, it was like felt like home and we
yeah.
would we would do stuff outside of campus too, like in LA, like go around and do open
Yeah.
mics and I met a lot of cool comedians doing that. But it was so hard. I mean, it's like LA is just impossible to do comedy in. So and that's why I moved to Denver when I graduated because I was like, I can't, there's no way this is gonna work in LA.
Right. That's
Yeah.
what, and so like I knew you as like a Denver comic or
Yeah. Yeah.
last year And you and so many of you fellow Denver comedians at the time were like part of Limestone. So it's like, dude, the Denver scene's crazy, man. They're
Yeah,
like
Denver's the best.
half
I
our
mean,
features. Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool and like um yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to consider myself because I also do a lot of comedy in the Bay Area. Like I would go
Right.
like summers and stuff, I would go home
Right. Right.
to so I was like really integrated in the Bay scene as well. And I still
That's
love
cool.
it's
Yeah.
one of the best scenes as well.
Oh my God. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I
So
mean,
I
you're
love
going
going
to,
back there.
right, school in SoCal, home in NorCal, and then
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like going back and forth a lot.
yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that was like cool because I feel like that's where I was able to actually do stand up was in the Bay Area. Like LA was
Yeah,
like
sure. Yeah.
you do open mics and it for 3 minutes and that's kind of it. But then in the Bay, I was like able to actually do shows, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and so that was cool. Made a lot of friends there. And then yeah, Denver, I just was like on a whim kind of moved to Denver and it honestly worked out pretty well for me for like
Yeah.
the scene being so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't been yet, but obviously like every time we see Denver comedians, they're always so good and it's like,
Yeah.
gosh, man, you guys are just crushing it out there. So you went there after graduating from college and
Yeah.
I think that's you were telling me that you had spent most of a majority of your comedy career in and then
Yeah.
now you're in New York.
Yeah, so
Um
then spent 4 years in Denver and then yeah, and then now I'm in New York. It's been like 5 months now. So
w- that's yeah, that's right. It's been pretty new.
pretty new.
We have some friends that are, going to be moving out of here pretty soon, and one of them is actually going to Denver. Was there anything
Right.
in particular? Yeah, was there anything in particular about the scene that you like really, you were like very excited to do, because you had been in the LA scene, you'd been in the San Francisco Bay Area scene, but like getting to Denver, like what was it that you were like, okay, I think I can really like grow here?
There wasn't really, I just kind of had heard it was good. And then it was like I was deciding between that and then Austin, which was like Austin was way before what it is now. Like it was like, yeah, it just isn't what it was like people really talked highly of it. And it was one of the best scenes. I mean, it still is. It's just like a whole different thing now.
Right.
But then I was like, I don't want to live in Texas. That doesn't seem right for me. So then I made a
On
trip.
brand.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah, it just was uncomfortable for me to think about living in Texas and then I actually made a trip out to Colorado and did a few shows just to like see
Nice.
and then during my trip I think I decided like okay, I'm just gonna come here. And it wasn't even that there wasn't a moment where I was like fell in love with Denver. I think I was just desperate for like I just need to go somewhere after
Yeah.
LA and I have
You're
no
like, there's
idea.
good shows here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like I
yeah.
guess I'll just yeah, I just go to Denver. And it was like the most welcoming. They were just like, yeah, the most welcoming scene ever.
That's awesome.
Super
That's
good
awesome.
for new comics. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. That's great to hear. Yeah, 'cause we have a lot of people that are going to be, yeah, friends of mine that are like either going to like Chicago from here,
Yeah.
few in New York now as well. But yeah, that's great to hear that, it was a place that you're able to really kind of, flourish as you did. I mean, it sounds like that's kind of what led you to, now New York, which, it's only been, 5 or so months, but how has that been? I guess, how is it different? And,
Yeah.
what are kind of the advantages already that you've kind of enjoyed maybe since being there and also like being on the road.
Yeah. I mean, it's super different from Denver. I think it's like kind of a shocking. I've made a lot of like I made a lot of trips out here before, so it wasn't completely like out of the blue, like just culture shock.
Yeah.
I was very familiar with New York just as a city,
Yeah.
and as a comedy scene. Like I knew it was going to be really tough and everything. But yeah, being here now, it definitely feels like I feel like I made the right move. Like it's hard. I mean, it's going to be hard to move away from your scene. Like there's so many things I miss about Denver. Like a lot of my close friends live there and the shows are just incredible. Like it just like infinite stage time that's very good. Like we were spoiled. We're for sure
Mm.
spoiled in Denver. And then here it's like, not so much. It's just like you have to really like make a, you know, solidify your establish yourself in the scene here, or else you're like forgotten. Like if you're not around,
Mm,
people just don't know who you are or remember you. And so,
hmm
it's just about being everywhere, going to all the mics, like go
hmm
hanging out at shows and like, but luckily I knew a lot of comics, like
Yeah.
from my
Yeah.
past trips that I made out here. So I didn't, it doesn't feel like starting over, which is nice.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, you probably know people with shows or people who know people with shows and I
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
and that's something I wanted to ask you about like I feel like you and so many others in our scenes and like in the Indianapolis scene a lot of people did a lot of festivals last year and are continuing to do them.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to be in one and volunteer at a couple just to like see how it goes and it seems like it's a lot of that's where you kind of meet your like class of comics.
Mhm.
And then everyone kind of goes through, all the festivals or a lot of them together. Do you enjoy doing festivals? That's something that you think was like helpful, helped you meet people and,
Yeah,
that kind of
totally.
thing?
I've done like a lot of festivals actually, and that's a big reason why I know so many comics like in New York and in a bunch of other cities too. Like you create a network through the festivals. So it's kind of, I don't know if it's essential. Like I know successful comics who are like totally against festivals, and that if that works for them, I just find it, yeah, I found it was super helpful for me to do festivals, and just even if it's not like a, renowned festival, it's still good to just meet other comics from other scenes and do comedy in a different city so you don't get stuck. People get stuck, I think, in their scene, and then they kind of pander to the scene. But you
Mm,
kind of have to travel, I think. You got to travel to
hmm
see what different parts of the country, like what they, what do they resonate with? Like, how does your material differ in different rooms? You know what I mean? Like, you have to do
Yeah.
it.
You got to hit the road. You got to see how ugly the Midwest is. You got to that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
reference to one of
it's fun
Salma's
to
jokes.
see like what works where, and
Yeah, right, for
it's
sure.
really interesting.
Right, and it seems like a lot of festivals, at least like the ones that the premier ones are like kind of in, it's Denver, it's Kansas City, us,
Yeah, it'll be like
they're all
kind of like
over.
random towns. Yeah.
Yeah, Minneapolis, so it's kind of like, if
Hmm.
this works, this has got to work everywhere, It's kind of like a
Yeah, yeah,
slice
yeah,
of the population there. But yeah, I wanted to ask you because I know you have a an interesting background as far as like your parents who you met you talk about in
yeah.
your act as well, and as someone with parents who were immigrants, I wanted to ask kind of what your parents thought of you doing stand up if they were had strong feelings in either
Yeah.
about it at all. I'm sure if they did that, they'd let you know about it. But I just wanted to know if how your parents felt about it, because I know how mine in the beginning they were very skeptical and they're just kind of like,
Yeah.
but now they're. But yeah, how about for you?
Right. Yeah, I mean it's in college, I think they were like, "Oh, like she found, she's doing a little hobby, she's making friends and everything." And so I think they were maybe a little shocked that I kept doing it and like started to take it more seriously.
Hmm
And yeah, they actually, my parents love stand up. I don't know if it's because I started doing it. I'm not really sure if but they like go to a lot of local shows, and like they'll
Yeah.
literally like name
Nice.
comics that I'm like, whoa, I know that's like a good friend. And they're like, we saw Sereni, like Sereni's like one of my friends. They're like, we loved this girl Sereni. I'm like, yeah, that's that's so weird. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, they're like weirdly integrated in the Bay Area comedy scene kind of, because there's a
Heck yeah.
venue by my parents' house, and they like go to shows, and they'll,
Oh
even if
my
they
gosh.
don't know the headliner, they'll just go.
Right.
And
Yeah. They're like, don't tell. Sign us up. Why not?
yeah, they love Don't Tell. Like I took them to a
Dude.
show once, and then they were like, we want to host one at our house. Like it's like so
Oh
weird.
shoot. No way.
I don't know if
They're
they
like,
will do that, but they were like, my mom was like, oh my God, we can like have one in our backyard or whatever.
dude, yeah. They're like, you can submit. You're like, guys, come on.
I know, it's, yeah, no, it's super weird. But that's like my mom. Like yeah, definitely my dad is like skeptical, and I think he'll always be a little skeptical because he thinks Um, he thinks it's like Amy Schumer or nothing, like in career wise. Like it's either you
Mm-hmm.
have the career of Amy Schumer, like you're like a mega superstar, or
Right.
or you're like scum and like
Oh,
oh.
sure. Oh,
But some
yeah.
people realize there is an in between, of course, right? Being a touring.
Yeah.
But he
Exactly.
doesn't know, yeah.
The path. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. He's like,
It's
you
hard to
should.
explain comedy, yeah, to your
For
parents.
sure, for sure. Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like they see more than I feel like most parents do at this point.
Yeah, they
At
watch a
least
lot of it,
that's
but
great. Yeah,
yeah, which is cool
that's
because
so cool.
they'll like mention comedians and
Right,
or
right.
and they'll yeah, they go a lot into the cities, San Francisco, and they'll be like, we saw Chelsea Handler,
Oh
this
my God.
whatever, like and so I
Yeah,
love that they love stand up, but yeah, they're still, I think, always going to be skeptical until I like do Colbert or something.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have they seen you perform live
Yeah, so I
before?
took them to only one time to a Don't Tell because
Oh, nice.
it's so close to our house. And I was like, okay, I gotta just bring them. But yeah, I hated it. I mean, it sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the show was great, but it was like I saw my parents in the crowd and I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'm sure
uncomfortable.
they were probably loving it. But I mean, that's cool, that they, supportive in that sense, and that's great. I mean, they're probably giving you tags and stuff at this point. They're probably
Yeah, at this point, yeah. Have your
they're
parents
like
seen you do stand up?
they have not seen me do it live, and I would like to keep it that way
Oh
until
yeah.
maybe, something like that or something, where it's like, all right, maybe it's something special. Who knows? But I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no,
Plus,
it's like you don't
yeah.
want to like some people they're like some comics are super comfortable bringing their parents to a show, but I've never felt comfortable.
Oh man, yeah, comfortable. No, no, I would. I'd be like, you guys are in the back, just don't, yell out,
Yes,
But but they both like comedy too, which is kind of nice. So, similar to yours, like my
that's
mom
good.
will
Yeah.
occasionally watch people at the attic, and then my dad will always be watching like on Netflix, and he'll just like he loves
Yeah.
Sebastian Maniscalco, so he'll just like pause and be like,
Yeah.
"You should do that." I'm like, "His act? What do you want me to?" You should,
Yeah,
yeah,
parents
just do that.
love Sebastian. Sebastian is like a
Yeah.
parents comic. My parents love him too.
Very true. Very,
Like I
yeah.
think yeah, yeah. I think just because he's like, yeah, he's silly and jumping around and they're like, that's an act,
That's
that's a
an
real
exact
act. Yeah.
exactly. The tighter the jacket, the more successful you guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's
exactly.
cool. That's cool. So shout out to your parents and hope they're catching some cool shows in the Bay. But yeah, back to what you're doing today. Like I said, I was very impressed by, you featuring and I'm guessing you've been doing that at clubs all around the country. I guess I guess the idea is when writing material and like building and like, polishing your act, do you have like a certain process you go about kind of week to week? Do you like, just kind of the methods, the systems you like to use that have, taken you thus far? I was just kind of wanting to ask you about and like see if you had any, best
Yeah,
practices or just kind of tips on
yeah.
that
I
kind
mean,
of
I'd
thing.
like to think that I don't write every day, but like I try to like if I go to a mic, I'm like, okay, I should write something before I go to the mic. And I go to mics most nights, so it's like, yeah, I'm usually writing and like a lot of rewriting and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of like, yeah, I'll work on a bit for so long and then I'll just throw it out and then I'll be like, that
Mm.
was a waste of time. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm trying not to see it as a waste of time, but sometimes it does feel that way. Like in New York, it does feel, yeah, it's just so much more competitive. Like it's more competitive, it's more saturated. So I
Mm.
feel like I'm churning out more material, but it's
Mm.
tougher. I mean, it's tougher out here with the crowds. I had more of a flow in Denver. Like I would meet with my friends like on a weekly basis or weekly or bi-weekly basis of like we're gonna do coffee and jokes or whatever.
Oh,
Like,
that's awesome.
I do
Yeah,
that a
yeah.
lot. I would do that a lot in Denver. I do it now, like sometimes over Zoom with friends, but like
Mm.
not as much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's a lot more like independent. I've noticed out here. It's like
Sure.
kind of every man for himself situation. So
Yeah.
yeah, I tend to
Until
just
you build
yeah,
another core group or
right,
find it,
right. Yeah. It seems
Um,
like just everyone is yeah, like it's just busier. It's just a busier city. Like Denver was just a lot of chilling and knowing where everyone is. Like, because there were only a certain amount of shows, like how it is in Indiana, I'm sure. It's like you know what's happening
Right.
Monday. You know,
Yeah,
everyone is on a Monday night. Like they're at this open
exactly.
mic at this time. But
Yep.
here I'm like, what's everyone doing? What's going on? There's a million shows
Yeah.
and it's hard to just to like meet up with comics and do like a writing thing because it's like everyone's in like their own little scenes. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like there's like little scenes within
Mm.
New York.
The
So
greater. That makes it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen, certain comics are at this club at this other rooms.
Yeah, there's just so many rooms here.
Yeah.
So
And just in like the first, almost, first few months, because we're always hearing like, oh, you moved to New York or LA, you can go do this many spots a night, even if it's, mics and stuff. Has that been the case for you? Like, have you been able to kind of stack and do multiple sets in a night if you so wanted to, I guess?
yeah, I think definitely, but it's different. It's like different because I think pre-COVID, it was like this grind culture that it was like I remember New York being like 6 spots a night, like this whole like 6 to 10 spots a night, and I'm like, okay, that's crazy. I don't even know how I would. Well, first of all, I'm not booked that much where that can happen, but even with open mics, like you can't
Yeah.
really be doing that. I mean, unless you like start really early or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's the way the culture is different now and it's more like relaxed and it's like, yeah, I'll do like a mic and a show. Like if I have a show, I'll always do a mic before. And then sometimes I'll take a day
Nice.
off or whatever. And like, so yeah, I'm not doing the whole like 5 spots a night thing. Like
Gotcha.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to just like, make connections with certain rooms where I can be like, okay, this is like I can
Yeah.
do this every Saturday or every Thursday or whatever.
Right.
And
Right.
then that makes it more like that makes it less overwhelming,
For
because I just
sure.
don't want to overwhelm myself because there's just so much
Yeah.
going on in the city.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I had a friend who, when you were here and I posted, you on my story, like, they were like, oh, I've seen her at open mics before. So
Right.
it's like the world is small, but even in there, like you said, there's these different kind of slices, I guess, of it. But I mean,
Yeah, like
just in the first few
totally.
months, it sounds like you've been able to, find a rhythm and, you know, um, and I think you mentioned your roommate's also a comic, so hopefully,
Yeah,
you
which
guys
is
have been
super
able to,
helpful.
yeah,
We
yeah,
definitely hit mics together, and that is amazing. Like
that's
it's so much
awesome.
less um
Yeah,
hellish to do open mics with your friends. So I definitely try to do that. But yeah, no, I think I found a little groove, like which mics I like, which mics I don't like, and like which shows I want to hang out at, or like, things like that.
yeah, yeah.
Building a little community, it's nice.
I did want to ask you, like, I mentioned, so many people that are in my kind of class just starting out, we're always trying to find comics that are more established and, just kind of hear their thoughts on comedy and starting out. And you already mentioned, kind of how you approach writing and collaborating with other comics and, meeting up and, pitching jokes to each other and, obviously hitting mics and stuff. But is there, if you could tell yourself any, the typical tell yourself advice when
Mhm.
you were starting out, maybe something now or something you learned along the way that you think would be valuable for you to know, 4 or 5 years ago, whenever you were, starting out, what would that kind of be?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, the best piece of advice I've heard, I think it was Whitney Cummings, or I don't know, I heard it on some podcast, but that like, and it helps me a lot, is that like you can never do something too late in stand up. Like you that but you can do something too early. And so I always
Mm,
remind myself of that where sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough or I'm not like putting out enough stuff or I should be here because I've done comedy X amount of years, I should be doing. But really it's like I'd rather just like wait and then have it be like the best product than do something just to say I did it. You know what I mean? Like and have it be like mediocre. Because I think I see
mm,
you see people put out like specials or albums and it's just like, I would prefer to just wait because you can never do something too late. Like it'll only be better. And so like that's
That's
something
nice.
that I wish maybe I knew earlier, like so that I'm not so stressed about, oh, I gotta have this perfect whatever and I gotta get ready for this thing, blah, blah, blah. Or
Right.
I start thinking about whatever it is. I don't know. It could be anything, but
Yeah,
it's just like taking it slow and just
for sure, especially in
trusting the
the way.
process. Yeah.
Right. I like that a lot actually, especially like today where, everyone's got a special, everyone's,
I know,
you
and
know,
it
eh,
seems like everyone's doing a
I was
lot,
started last year as a
right?
special. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems with social media you can get so caught up in like what
Yeah.
everyone else is doing, and
Yeah. That's
no,
yeah.
I get stuck in that all the time, and I still don't
Oh
know
yeah.
exactly how to get out of it, but I do know that like yeah, I think as long as I don't quit,
Mm-hmm.
something good
Exactly.
will come of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I
it's
mean,
like
yeah.
yeah, it's just I think just wait, or be patient, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, like, patient and like yeah, to know that you don't have to be putting stuff out like crazy and
Yeah.
and then if you do put stuff out, make sure you like it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's super important. I think, especially younger comics need to hear and learn because it's you can get impatient for sure, but like you
Yeah,
said, it's always worth it in the end. And I think it was Dulce Sloan on The Daily Show was like, you get things when you deserve them, or you get things when you
right.
should get them, or something
Or
like
like
that.
when it's too late, usually that's what I hear a lot. Like when you
Right.
get the thing, it's usually you're like, okay, fine, like duh, like
Oh
you're
yeah,
like, you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
It
you
makes
hear about
sense.
it makes sense. Like it's not a surprise. And it shouldn't be a surprise, I think, when you get something like people talk about JFL, which RIP.
For real,
I
yeah,
don't
gosh.
know if it's ever gonna come back, but JFL obviously used to be like the best. Like it can do so much for your career, and then you hear about all
Right.
these comics that are like, I auditioned 8 times before I got it. So by the
Wow.
time they get it, they're like more than ready for it.
Mm,
Like
mm-hmm,
they've gone through
mm-hmm.
the audition, they've done and then it's been like
Yeah.
so many years. And then you get it, when you get it, you don't care about it anymore. And then you probably actually perform better when you don't care. There's no pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you said,
Yeah.
more than ready. It's
Yeah, you're more
another.
than ready. It's like you want to be more than ready, I think,
Yeah.
when you do anything in stand up, like a big thing, it's like you want to be more than ready. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Was it you don't step up to the plate, you like fall to your level of training or something?
Yeah, yeah,
I've heard
something like
before.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure
That's
there's like a sports analogy. I don't know the sports analogy,
yeah.
but I'm sure
Plate,
there's
home run, one of
yeah,
those.
something about a home run and a ball and a catching
Field
it.
of Dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's really it's reassuring to hear. It's motivational and yeah, assuring in the sense that just keep up the grind, keep getting up, keep writing.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just trusting. Yeah, trusting
Yeah. Yeah, and
yourself.
I'm
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. And I've been fortunate to get to talk to you and so many other people all over that are doing it. And it always comes back to like it's kind of the same thing everywhere at the end of the day. Like obviously different scenes, different shows, but like at its core, it's write, perform, and
Yeah.
edit and everything. And all this other stuff is like it should also just be part of it, but not like the main thing, social.
Exactly. Like
But
exactly. Like you don't want to get sucked into the to whatever's not writing and performing. Like, because
yeah.
that's what stand up is writing and performing. But now there's all this
Yeah.
stuff we have to do. We have to also be cinematographers for some reason.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Get an
Okay.
editing degree.
Yeah, like I didn't go to film school, but I guess I have to learn like how to edit
But
now.
you were marketing though. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I
Or
guess like that probably helped in a way that
yeah.
no, but like it still sucks that we have to do so much now.
Yeah, yeah, it's huge. But I mean, I'm glad to see your success so far, and wish you more.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You've been nice and funny, and but also kind enough to share your time and your thoughts with me, and I really appreciate that. And I hope
Of course.
yeah, to always, it's never been, there's never been more information about these things out there, but to hear like specific things from people that we, look up to and stuff is always really appreciated. So I do, but I always like to ask, wrapping up, slowly, but I always like to ask my guests kind of who are inspiring people, who are, working hard, following their dreams, doing something that not everyone pursues, frankly, and not everyone, has the opportunity to, but if you do, it's an amazing thing. But I always like to ask, who or what inspires you today and, moving forward for you.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard because I feel, yeah, it's kind of, I'm in this weird like limbo of like having moved here. And so, I do try to, I get caught up in all the stuff and then I lose like inspiration and motivation like quicker now. But I think, I don't know, it's really just like my friends, like seeing my friends do cool stuff is always really inspiring. And then it's like, oh, that's what this is about, really, It's always been about
Hmm.
friendship, hasn't it? I don't know. I'm like really into friendship these days. I think it's the best thing.
Yeah,
And it does motivate me to like, want to just be somehow it comes back to being a better like doing stand up, but I think I don't know, I get inspired by my friends a lot. And even if it's not even like my non-comedy friends, like
for
I just
sure.
I don't know, they keep me going. I keep trucking along and it's I'm like feel very fortunate to have like the friends that I do and to be able to collaborate with the people that I do and get like inspired and if I have like a premise and I'm like I don't know what to do with this, I can like pop it in the group chat or whatever and
Mm,
get feedback, positive feedback and so I don't know, I think it's just yeah, it's just the pals, man. It's
yeah.
always the pals.
The friends and the jokes we made along the way.
Yes, yes. I don't know
Well,
if that
that's
answers your question, but
no, totally it did because like that was something I was, and you pretty much touched on it, which is to say that this is something that is not easy to do because it's very hard and what keeps people going, but the community around them or the
yeah,
the
even though it's
friends.
so independent, it's like
Yeah.
you still need like
Oh my
the
God.
community aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if I didn't have my three, four, five, closest friends in the scene here that we keep each other accountable, what are you
Yeah.
doing tonight? Where are you
Oh
go,
my God, totally. Like there's no way I would have kept doing stand up had it not been for like meeting my bestest friends in the world. Like I really
Yes.
I don't think I would have been able to keep doing it.
You're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, all this sucks. All right, I'll go home. It's like, what? No, it is totally
Yeah.
the hang and the friends and that's, yeah, super important. So I'm glad
Love a good hang.
yeah, that's most of it, as they say, most of it.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
true.
I
Yeah.
I really, yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And you're amazing. You're hilarious. I want people to follow you. I want people listening and watching to check out your stuff. So I think it's Salma Zaky, Zaky on
Yeah.
all social media. But what's your website again? Is it
Yeah, just salmazaki.com. I got the
salmazaki.com?
domain
That's right.
pretty good. Uh,
Yeah.
and then yeah, that's just I mean, I think if you just pop it in the search, it'll there's not many Salmazakis doing stand up these days. But yeah, I'm on all the socials. So thanks again. I appreciate the time and yeah, thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you, Sam. I really appreciate it again. Thank you for sharing, all your wisdom with us. And yeah, it really means a lot that you took the time. So, any next time you're in the Midwest or nearby, please, I'll definitely try and come catch you. That'll be fun.
Totally. Totally.
Um, and yeah, definitely we'll have to come see you in New York soon too. And you're just getting started
Yeah.
there, so can't
Gotta
wait to
come to the
see.
Big Apple.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do. But yeah, thank you again, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, of course. You too. Thank you.
Real quick before you click away, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, comment below, and subscribe for all future videos. And be sure to check out these two videos right here. Hope you have a great one.